MDJ podcast. And what does that stand for?
MrDjay podcast.
What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another video. We're here with podcast number 17, and I got my main man, my partner, my brother here.
You already know the most charismatic man in entertainment, the Prince of Fresh Air. It's always good to be back.
Yes, sir. And I got my Kwanzaa Land brothers, Kofi and Felix. What's happening?
What's good?
Happening? What is happening, y'all?
All right, glad to have y'all here. For those that don't know, most recently I just did a play out in Jamaica, Queens called "'Twas the Night Before Kwanzaa," and I met these two talented brothers. I learned a lot from them, and just throughout the whole process, we were just talking about being actors, here and there, aside from the sucking and jiving that we be doing, backstage and everything like that. And I definitely thought that this was a necessary podcast episode to have. So to start it all off, I'll say that, a lot of times I feel like being an actor is like a solitary journey, and you rarely ever see actors on the come up collectively talk about their journeys. You know what I'm saying? You only ever really see like larger actors, like the Will Smiths, the Denzel Washingtons, the Tom Hollands, Daniel Kaluuyas. They're the ones that really sit and kind of reflect on their journey, what it took to get there. But how often do we ever really kind of sit and collectively talk about that? You know what I'm saying? That's why I felt that it was necessary in the first place. So I know why I'm an actor, like what actually made me choose acting as like my life purpose, my life path, and why it gets me up in the morning. So I wanted to ask you guys, why did you pick acting? And like why acting? And like what made it your purpose, if you get what I'm saying? In no particular order.
Well, for me, I didn't really pick acting. It's just
acting picked you.
I didn't want to
chose him.
Acting
chose him.
It's so corny to say it. It really is. So I didn't want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
But it literally is just who I am. I'm an artist. And I think, really getting to understand that is the first step, because you might think you do certain things and it's just a hobby. Like, I should write, draw, paint, sing, all that stuff. And then the point you actually realize that is something that could be done professionally, you kind of have to go through this self-discovery of like the talent and then the worth that you can actually do it and pursue it and be successful at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think in my experience, no matter where I went, the camera will find me. Like it just be no matter what kind of job, something would divert you. So it's surrendering to the art and just doing it. That's basically it.
Did you at all like consider doing anything else, or like just straight out the gate?
I was going to law school. I was doing like changed my major like 3 times, and like I had to have a whole pep talk, and then I smoked a blunt for the first time, and I was like, I'm an artist. What the fuck? Go to film school. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? School? Like, you know what I'm saying? It hit me like I had an epiphany, and life began.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, so I gotta peep that. You ain't slick.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
Story.
I say honestly the same thing. And it is actually really corny to say, because it's funny. The first person that actually said it to me was Felix, and he was like, "Acting chose me." I was like, "That's like," it was like. But then you look back, and then it's like, wow. Like when he said that, it made me look back, because literally in high school, I got cut from the basketball team, and my world kind of ended at that point. And then the first thing that happened was someone came to me and was like, "Hey, would you like to join the drama club?" Next thing you know, I was doing theater, right? And then in college, what's it called? First of all, I changed my major to theater. Like, what was it? A couple months ago, like back after I walked. Because before you can actually, there's graduating and there's walking. So I walked before I graduated, and after I walked, literally the next couple of weeks, I literally switched my major to theater, because it just made more sense for me to finish off as a theater major than to finish off as a business major, because I had more credits that, I could have fulfilled. And it was like, I was like, what? I was like, that is crazy. Like theater, and like theater's always the answer for some reason. For some reason, theater and drama has always been the answer. And then the same thing happened again during quarantine. Quarantine was like a big one. Quarantine, it really hit, and I was just like, yeah, nah, I can't. I was a business major at the time. I was doing like econ, and then I was just like, nah, this ain't it. This just ain't it.
Yeah.
You just know what you're called to do. And
Facts.
even if it isn't just theater, because I don't only limit myself to just theater, but this is an active conversation. I consider myself an artist in general, so it could be singing. We were singing up in Kwanzaa land.
Facts, yo. Yo, we had the unofficial group, bro. We had the group,
the unofficial voice of the group. So it sounds so cliche to say, but literally, acting really chose me. So
I hear that. Percy,
was there a particular point for any of you guys, like a particular point of like I'm actually doing this? Because there's knowing, but the point there, like, nah, this is what I'm gonna do. Like, I'm about to really
like when you actually like. So when I decided that like this is what I'm gonna do.
Point, yeah, like there's knowing you're an artist. Then there's like, I'm going to pursue this as a career. I could tell you mine later, but like,
so
Kwanzaa land. I was gonna say this past show we did actually it really showed me that.
Really?
I know it confirmed that for you. You know what I'm saying? What you had to go through and shit like that. That's a fact. But honestly, yo, if nothing else, because like I said, the whole car ride, every time I'm always like, yo, like I can't even imagine having to get through that because yo ass want to go and break your leg and shit like that. This is a whole long story. We're gonna talk about that
later. My foot is still broken. Y'all want to say go and break your leg?
Wait, so it's broken or like it's
really dislocated? Yeah, the bone is like twisted. It's like it still is like, yeah. And I do my own stunts. Let the record show.
But anyway, that's a good question. So I'll just say, for me, it was two things growing up. It was either I was going to be a veterinarian or I was going to be an actor. Like it was one or the other, and it was because it had to be based on like a love of something. Like I had to do what I loved. You know what I'm saying? So growing up, I loved animals. So it was either I was going to do that or I was going to be an actor because I always loved movies. You know what I'm saying? Like I got like a whole collection of like VHS tapes and DVDs, and these are VHS tapes.
VHS.
Yeah, these are VHS tapes.
That's crazy.
You're like an old '60s man. Like
hey,
man. He is, bro.
Yeah, these are all. I got.
Where do you play those? How? Where? What do you?
I got movies
about?
All around.
I can't even find a DVD player anymore. Where do you find a?
Well, because the point I'm making is that my parents, they kind of fostered that because they were, big fans of movies and stuff like that. So, anytime I wanted to buy a movie, they were always doing it. And then I always found myself like memorizing all the dialogue in all my, because I'm that guy. So if you watch a movie, if you watch Coming to America or Bad Boys or Men in Black, I know all the dialogue in all of these movies. You know what I'm saying? So like I was already getting off book, as a little kid, just knowing everything. And then eventually I started doing theater in middle school and high school because I wasn't really, big sports dude, saying ironically enough, because I didn't become a fan of boxing, or I didn't get into boxing until, like I said, I was like, 23, you know what I'm saying? So it was really just dance and, drama. And the first play that I ever like auditioned for in high school. So I went to an all-white high school and we did a production of The Wiz with all white people in it. You know what I'm saying? And this was before like I even knew how to do a reading. You know what I'm saying? Like, how like when we did the first reading for Kwanzaa Land, like everybody had a certain way of reading. Like it wasn't, people weren't just reading. Y'all was performing like straight up, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't.
Can I butt in real quick?
Yeah, nah, go ahead.
I just want to say that when Felix first read his what's it called? His Santa Claus Fast Eddie, but the Kwanzaa, like when he first came in on the read through, I was just like, who is this man? I was like, yo, who is this?
Like 2 hours late.
Nah, crazy.
Yo, because I can definitely agree with you, because like seeing how you guys do your read throughs, like read throughs, I always took read throughs as like, okay, we're just gonna come in and we're just getting a sense of it. They really came in and they had exactly the way they were gonna, like, it's not even like it was just like you already knew it's not gonna be the same way when it comes to performance time, but you're damn near like in the process.
Facts.
Like
everybody was performance ready at the reading. I was like, yo.
just in my sleep. No, but I mean, I did do the play before, and I have a knowledge of it, and that kind of role, it doesn't leave. You can't forget those lines ever.
He had that expertise.
That's normally how I am in cold reads, because what do I always talk about? Kofi, choices. It's just about making those strong choices.
Yeah.
And I knew I was like an hour late, so I had to make up for it. I was like, okay, hey, what's up? Hard Santa Claus. Oh.
So, but real quick, so I'm gonna just finish, and I'm gonna let Percy, go ahead, and then I'm gonna answer that question, because that was a good topic. So, but I struggled with nervousness in front of people. So, like, not only did I not know how to read, but I was already nervous. So, we're in the empty cafeteria, and then we had all like the teachers who are like the directors in charge of everything. They all watching, and then the pretty black girl that I had a crush on, she was watching. So I was already like, my energy was already like shut down. But I had that, but I just didn't know how to switch it. But the reason why I picked it was because, and I'll say this, everybody hates Will Smith's Wild Wild West. Everybody hates that movie, but I freaking love that movie. And when I left the theater, that was when I decided I'm gonna do that, because I'm allergic to cats. So I can't really be a veterinarian being allergic to cats. But when I walked out of that theater, I made up my mind that I wanted to have the same impact that Will Smith had on me, on other people. Like, it was just something about like that ending sequence. I don't know if you've seen the film, but it was just something about the way that movie ended that I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? So, but Percy, you can go ahead.
For me, it all started in the projects. I was watching, Disney Channel. I think we all probably grew up watching Corey in the House, Hannah Montana, That's So Raven.
No, facts.
And my first time performing, it wasn't even acting, it was dancing at my local community center. And I had got one of the main dancing parts in like this talent show we was doing. And I don't remember exactly how many people I was performing with, but I remember the song was Lose Control by Missy Elliott and Ciara. And that was the first time I ever did anything in front of people. It was packed in that gym. And I got a standing ovation. Now, part of it was probably because I was a little kid, but I saw that as fuel to continue doing something that involved entertaining people. Because for me, as a kid, growing up in my circumstance, I had a lot of trouble finding out who I was as a person. So I think performing allowed me to grow. So I had one of my teachers, middle school teachers, encourage me, pick a high school. She said, I've seen you perform, and I think, you should give it a shot. And, she helped me pick out a performing arts high school. And that's how I started getting into acting. And, I studied dance too, but I studied mostly acting. And from there, just doing Shakespeare, learning from celebrity actors and working with professional Broadway actors as well, allowed me to grow. And I eventually I knew I wanted to do it, but I think it took me a couple years to really say, you know what, this is what I want to do. There's no ifs, ands, what's about it.
Mm-hmm.
I have no plan B. And ever since then, 2010, I just been going straight forward.
I hear that. So Felix, so you said what or when was it that we decided to actually pursue? So not just a dream, but in pursue. So you started off.
Yeah, because for me it was definitely in college. I talked to Kofi about this a little bit. I changed my major 3 different times: economics to psychology to political science, and then you have to fill out certain requirements for arts, or you have options of acting, music, photography, painting, stuff like that. And acting was just my brain, that was just the first thing. And I just remember the excitement I had going to that class. It was an 8 o'clock class. You have a biopsych or something that's very complicated, or pre-calc or something. And that was a class that gave me a lot of joy. I'm extra as fuck, so that was just a no-brainer. And I was really good at it. And the professor was like, yo, you're really good at it, whatever the case you should think. I was like, whatever. And it's funny because I've told Kofi about this. We get on the same train going back from rehearsals every fucking day. One of my cousins, he's Ghanaian, from War Park. I'm Ghanaian. He's whatever. He's famous in Ghana. He's a big time actor. And when he became famous, his parents at first were like, "Yo, aren't you gonna go to school?" Whatever. They weren't so supportive. So I'm sure as a child, maybe I was aware of the talent, but to actually pursue it, it's more like, okay, I'm gonna go to school. I said I want to be a lawyer. I actually did. I convinced them I want to be a lawyer. I'm gonna pursue this. And then eventually, by the time I took that acting class, it was a wrap. And then I took another class, and then I decided to become a minor. But my last semester, we had this production that happened, different sets of plays, and I got to direct one of them, and I got to act in one of them. We did like 3 different shows the weekend. It was like Halloween weekend packed. It was fucking epic, just out of this world, funny as shit. And I was just like, yo, the last show, just think about like Kwanzaa, like, the last show, how the lights hit extra hard, like it's all electrifying. And
when I got sick, man, them shits hit extra hard for me. Shit.
Right, you're right. See that it could be is I feel like is the experience is so intense, so your body could leave sick a little bit. But I think that last light coming on and that last bow and that last set of applause, something just like was so affirming. Like, I want to feel like this every day. This is what I'm going to do with my life. Like, there's no other. I've experienced a dose of this, and this is the only thing that makes sense to me. Everything else is like black and white until this is happening. I'm in color. So I was like, hey, mom, dad, this is my degree. You can have this. Keep this. Go show your friends. I'm gonna go do me now.
Nah, facts, yo. I feel that.
I got something to say, actually, like a question.
Yeah.
But why is it always at the last show? Like, I don't know. For me, the last show always feels like the best show, right? And I don't know why, right? Because for some reason, every show should feel like the last show. So why is it in particular that the last show really just hits a lot harder?
You know why?
Is it like a mental thing as an actor?
You know why? Because there's another theater that I've done a few shows at out in Westchester, my area and stuff like that. And it's something that the guy who owns the theater, his name is Alan, he says that this is the last time that this group is ever going to perform this show ever again. And I feel like that notion kind of comes over everybody during the last show. You know what I'm saying? Because that, like, because you get used to, like, I got used to seeing y'all like damn near every day, rehearsing and performing and hanging out and talking. So when you know that this is the last time you're going to do it again, it's like everybody kind of steps it up a little bit more because it's the last time. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like that last bite of your favorite meal. Like you're gonna, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna take your time eating that last. You're gonna prop it up. You know what I'm saying? Before you put it on the fork and you eat it. So I feel like that's how it is for a lot of performers during the last show. Or at least for me, that's what I think it is.
I
like mad sentimental.
I think for me, it's more so at that point. I know, for me, it's all about the crowd reaction. So if I'm doing a comedy, I want to see at the points where people laugh. And for me, especially doing TV and film, you start to realize that it's all about adjusting because you try one thing the first show, it doesn't hit quite right. So you say, you know what, instead of doing this way, I'm gonna switch up this line to see how that go. Then the second one works, and then you realize, oh, okay, people react a little bit better to that. So I think by the final show, you worked out all the kinks, the jitters. Because for me, I was helping Dimitri relines for the show, and it's like, it's one thing when you're reading with a person you get comfortable reading, but then when you go on stage, you don't factor in, the other cast members, the lights, the people, and then now you have to put it all together finally. So I think as an artist, you do the best professional job you can the first show, but I do think the first show is just like it's that test one, it's that warm up, and then the second show is like, okay, how can I build? And then by the final show, what works. You got the kinks out, your lines is down packed. You could improvise and you'll still get everything right. So that's just that time where you like, I'm gonna put everything into this. And, deliver that good performance.
And in addition to that, like, I think it's just like digging deeper. Every show gets better and better because if you're willing, you try different choices. Your comfort with the lines more natural, it becoming more second nature. It's part of that thing of us being actors where we're doing things naturally, but there's a whole mechanism happening in our brains where you're planning out how you're going to raise your eyebrow when you say this, or how you're going to say this word. So you're conscious of the acting. And I think you're conscious because there are things you have to do. I think the more you do it, it becomes second nature. You don't even have to think. You're just completely in character. And you might have tried this choice and that choice, and now it's becoming one. Something I talked about with Kofi was like that first scene as Santa Claus. I was always aware, and I understand that you have to be, because you need to know there's a state so you don't fall off again, Felix. But it's more about like, I'm conscious that I'm on stage and I'm acting and I'm making choices, and I don't when I say this, do the Santa Claus voice, I hear my voice in it. I'm still conscious. I'm still me. I'm not in character deeply yet. By the last show, the last Harambe, that was all I had left in me. And I felt that
Harambe!
Oh, you have Harambe. I was like, yo, I ain't got nothing else to say. Like, and that you've given it your best. And like you said, we know it's the last time there's this tension. I felt like everybody was just so magnetic and electric, and it just bounced.
I wasn't. And it was funny because that was my favorite play, but I was mad that like at the last show, like I had no energy. Like I couldn't even get through our pre-show warm-ups. Like I couldn't even do that. I'm talking about as soon as we were done, I was like,
I know. I was hoping you would just try your best to just make the most out of it, which I'm sure you did, because it's like, especially with the kind of crowd we had, that's another thing. We have the last show, you have a bigger crowd, so you.
I don't even remember the crowd the last show. I don't even remember.
It was big.
I was trying to like.
Was it? It wasn't the biggest one though.
It was.
It was.
It was our biggest. It was our biggest crowd, right?
There was no seats. It was
the last show.
The last show.
You know why? Because I probably tuned everything out. That's the thing, and I couldn't even really see it on stage anyway. But I will say, I had made up my mind to really pursue acting as like, all right, this is like the goals that I have every single year to move forward and stuff. Was because I auditioned for the New Edition story in 2016, and that was when like it looked real, like to me, because I don't know if you guys ever heard of the casting director, Robbie Reed. But she did the casting for like all Spike Lee movies, like basically all the classic films that you'll probably know of in the 90s and stuff like that. And I had to audition for her. And obviously I didn't get it, but that whole experience of auditioning really made it like real for me, because that was before like I had like built up my acting chops. So like, because in the audition, we had to sing, dance, and act. So you had to sing a New Edition song, you had to dance a New Edition song, and then you had to do a monologue. This was before I had really dove into theater like that. But I was the only one that did all three. And you had to audition with other people. So it was me and like 5 other guys, and we all had to, do our thing in front of each other. The only thing I wasn't prepared at was the acting portion. Like I wasn't prepared, but like the dancing and singing part, I was over prepared. Like I felt like overqualified, to do it. And again, the next year when the film came out, so I had read Charlamagne's book that came out that summer, Black Privilege. And then when the New Edition story came out in January the following year, and when I watched all the actors who portrayed New Edition on TV, the quote that Charlamagne said in Black Privilege was, if somebody that looks just like you can do it too. So the fact that I didn't get it pushed me to keep going. You know what I'm saying? Because in the face of rejection, I had made up my mind like, yo, this is what I'm going to do. Because most people, they get rejected one time and they're like, yo, I'm not doing it no more. You know what I'm saying? Versus me, I was like, all right, cool. The fact that I was even in the room just shows me I can do it again. That
I'm manifesting that you will play some kind of, group 60s biopic, because you're literally that person. Like you're, so any casting director that sees you as yourself is just like the first casting that will come to your mind. Your hair, like you got a fro. No, you know what I'm saying? You do the snaps and the so just be prepared when it happens.
Bro, literally, like I need you to, when you're editing this, or if you do edit it, I need you to post that one picture me and Milo took of you in practice, bro.
Oh yeah, yo, I use that as a thumbnail for, because I just uploaded a video on my channel about the Michael Jackson biopic, and I use that picture as a thumbnail. because
bro,
yeah, like
he's
Like,
really
what?
that's really him.
that's a
really
fact.
him.
That's a
dope.
fact. I
think
got
that's
vinyl
dope.
records up here. Like, yo, like
I think that's dope. Step into your individuality and your style and your own shit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just constantly doing my own thing.
owning it, like yeah, owning it. You know.
Oh
No,
my
that's a
gosh.
fact. Yeah, that's a fact. But yeah, Kofi.
Oh, the question again was
Pursue. Like why? Yeah, like why'd you pursue? Like what made you really get in
What
pursuit of it?
moment
Yeah.
specifically hit you like I'm doing this for the rest of my life?
Oh my gosh, the moment that it hit me was last show, and the reason why it was last show, mind you, like I'm the youngest out of this group. I think am I the youngest?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm just finishing school, and I have this opportunity to play Edie and Kwanzaa, and for me, like when I first got it, it was just like, okay, this is just another role, right? This is just another role that I've had. Like I did in the summer, I was doing roles, and but I never really did theater in the city. You understand what I'm saying? So then now I get this role, and mind you, I'm still taking classes and stuff, and I'm about to. This is like my last month right now. After I'm finished with this one course, I'm graduating. But while I'm in the whole process, I'm like, I'm telling my parents, yeah, I plan on doing this for the rest of my life, and it's something that I'm just saying. But then seeing all the professionals in this one play, and then I was just like, you kind of have to like rise to that.
Yo,
and the fact that you have to rise, you have to really rise to that performance level. And then for me, I'm just like, I knew it. I'm like, yeah, I have goals and aspirations. But then I think it was one train ride that we took, me and
Which one?
I'm mad I wasn't there for this, yo.
Yeah, you would be there if you show up, if you stay 5 minutes after the shit is done.
Well, why am I getting on the train though? See, y'all going to the same direction.
That's not the point, bro. It's the 5 minutes. Those are everything. You go, I'll see you later. Where you going, nigga?
Nah, yo, get out of here, bro. Because there's been plenty of times where I just
note.
chilled and I hung out with y'all. So I'm talking about that
Please. And then
train
the last show
ride. I
you
should have
decided
been
to
there.
be sick.
So when he had, when Kofi made up his mind, he wanted to be an actor. I wish I was there. You know what I'm saying? So I could see how pivotal it was. You know what I'm saying? Those are things that you want to be there for. You know?
I guess.
No.
So which ride was the Kofi?
The Epiphany.
It had to.
That Epiphany.
Oh.
Hey, but my thing is this: however you come to that conclusion is how you come to that conclusion. You know what I'm saying? Like, period. You know?
No, yeah. No, it really hit me because it was just, I don't know. Mind you, it was definitely a trip. It was definitely a trip.
Literally.
But
you guys are crazy.
When that happened, I was just like, wow, like I'm really, I had a whole epiphany too with Felix, like Felix being Brother Kwanzaa. That's another one. But like that's another conversation we get into for another day. But when I was just like, wow, like this is something that I'm really choosing to do. And again, theater, as I said, is something that I felt like called me. But then the choice is yours as to whether you're gonna take that calling or not. And that's literally in that moment I was like, yo, wow. I've been telling my parents this, but like in that moment I really felt it. And that's why like the next performance that day, the last performance that we had, it was so pivotal to me because I just felt everything changed. Like everything was just different from the way I'm reading my lines. Cause it's like I just felt a lot more certain in this choice. Yeah. And I always was like, I'm gonna do this. But when you have African parents, it's a constant. We're
gonna talk about that for sure. Yeah, we definitely gonna talk about that for sure.
It's constant mental warfare, bro. Because if you're not strong enough, my whole life, I really went thinking that I was gonna be a doctor. And I'm telling you, like, when you stand firm in that decision where it's like, this is the decision that I'm going to make, and
you gonna go through it.
That's when they come harder. They come a lot harder.
You gotta stay harder.
Yeah, but that's what actually defines you is you remaining like steadfast in the face of like people telling you that you can't do what you want to do with your life. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And we gonna talk about that, but I just also want to kind of piggyback off of what he said about Kwanzaa, which is, and for me, like, theater and being on sets and being around people like y'all is the only time I feel like I could really be myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all know how, like, when I first kind of, like when rehearsal started, I was kind of quiet. I was kind of off to the side because I'm already naturally like an introverted dude anyway. You know what I'm saying? But once I kind of started to feel like this is like a safe space where I could really kind of be myself and be dancing and singing and, you know, bouncing off of walls and stuff like that. That's why like I can't do anything else, because if people are making copious amounts of money doing this for a living, then why not water that plant? Facts. Because the thing is, the way that y'all would describe me, like, you know, just in general, and the way, let's say, people that don't know me like that, or the way that people at a 9-to-5 would describe me, is two completely different people. So I'm talking about me working at a bank. I'm quiet, like I'm not saying nothing. I'm just like detached. I'm not talking to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Versus in a theater, I could really, again, like just be my authentic self. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, like, I just decided, like, yo, because why would I be somewhere for bread where I can't be myself? Why would I be a version of myself that makes somebody else feel comfortable for money? You know what I'm saying? Like when people are, and it's not that we don't do this for the money, because we would have did Kwanzaa Land for free, sort of. You know what I'm saying? Like if it worked, you know what I'm saying? If it worked. No, but think about it honestly. Like let's say if travel wasn't an issue, and then you could have still had that experience for free, would you do it? I would have. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, to me, just being an actor is a no-brainer because I get to meet people like y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not a dude where like I have a whole lot of friends. Like I'm mad like picky as far as like who, you know, I rock with. And the only people that I rock with is people who are cut from that same cloth. Because it's only y'all that I could have these conversations and not feel judged, you know, for like who I am or what I want to do and all of that. So every time, you know, when you guys talk about the things that you go through, you're preaching to the choir because I'm going through the same shit. Especially like, you know, Felix, when you first told me about your parents, and I was like, yo, it's about you. Your life is about you. It's not about them. So if they don't really want to, you know, rock with it, then like, fuck them. You know what I'm saying? So,
respectfully.
Percy, how I was gonna ask Percy, like, how for you, what was like, how your parents, at least, like, has that been a struggle? You know, telling your parents, or it's like, I'm gonna go down this career path, or not even just parents in general, any relatives in your family.
Oh, when I first, well, my mom still doesn't believe in it. You know, I think once she started hearing about the stuff I was getting and whatever, her opinion changed a little bit, but I think she still wants me to be a lawyer. My sister approved. But a lot of people, I think they view acting as a hobby and not as an actual career. So it's one of those things where you can make a career out of anything. You just got to be able to put in the work, build that foundation, and grow. And I think that never deterred me. When I chose my high school, my mom didn't like it. When I chose my college, my mom really didn't like it. But it's something that I know makes me happy. So, and you at some point you gotta make decisions that you feel is going to better you. And yeah, even though my mom may not support me or whatever, I'm kind of used to it. So it's for me, it's just like one of those things where I knew since I was 13 I was going to do it. I'm still doing it, and I want to change it. Is it a little harder than getting a corporate job? Yeah, but at the same time, we're doing something that we enjoy. So I'm not complaining.
Yeah. To add a little different perspective to that, because when I talked to Dimitri about that, I was triggered at that particular point. It was just something that we were talking about because it was a conversation I had, and I found myself still trying to make my parents understand that, and that's the part that I had to stop. Like, it's like completely.
I told you that. Yeah,
it's not because I realized, and it literally happened this last show. I realized, the way you measure success or a career is completely different. And I understand why. What we do is fucking insane. Let's talk about it. Like, what we do for a living is crazy. It's not easy to live off this when you're starting out, or people have done it for years consistently. They just want you to be successful. So me understanding from their perspective, especially looking at the years of struggle or hardship you face in the process, is like, nobody wants to watch their child do that. I can't even tell another person to become an actor. People say, I want to be an actor. Why would you want to do that? If you don't get a job, I'm doing this because I don't have a choice. I can't think of anything else. Nothing else makes sense for me. You know what I'm saying? So it's the duality of understanding, trying to pursue that and staying firm, because I literally fought my way through this. Like, I'm not going to get too deep into this, but I was on set on this project that I was doing with my cousins, whatever the case is. It's a long ass story. My dad pulled up to set to pull me out of set. Like, he literally came and said, like, we're going home. What you doing? Like, I said, what are you doing? What are you doing, bro? He left and came back a second time and did that. It really got really bad. And I had to stay persistent And as much as it was frustrating in the beginning, by staying persistent and, constantly doing the work and showing the work, at some point he was like, "You still trying to do this acting stuff? All right, you know what, whatever. I'm gonna just pay for film school. If you're gonna do it, just learn for it." I said, "What? You're gonna pay for film school?" And it was really surprising. And you know what's really crazy? My dad actually connected me to my first film. Like, he ended up meeting a producer, a big time director, and he just, oh, my son acts, and I got his contact. And within the span of like 2 years, I got connected to do that project. So what I'm trying to say is, like, there is a role that they have to play in your life, and it's just the understanding of, this is something only you can't explain this to anybody else. And I try not to take it as personal. It used to frustrate me. So now what I do is protect my energy. And
I had to tell them, because I said, yo, like, you're speaking a language that people are not going to understand. So you can't, there's certain conversations you just can't have with people because they're never going to understand, even if they pretend to get it, because they don't live that lifestyle. They might understand today, but then they're going to forget next week or some shit like that. So that support or understanding is rarely ever going to be permanent from certain people. Some people might get it, and then there's going to be other people that don't.
And I think the difference is just accepting that and trying your best to, because they do want to get involved. Now it's more like, how much are they paying you? Like, it's more like, okay, you tell them a project. It's like, oh my God, I just got nominated for what? You get paid? What? Like that has happened more than once. And you know what that feels like? To be so excited about something and they just say something and your energy just goes wonk, wonk, wonk. Because now, I'm not even going to talk about it with you. I'm just
facts, because that's how that's what gets them up in the morning. Money.
Yeah.
That's like how they look at things. Okay, all right, I'm going to do this. How much am I getting paid? Instead of, oh, I'm doing this to learn this, or I'm doing this to be exposed to that, or to meet this person and that person. But you know what's funny? Because I have a video on my channel after Chadwick Boseman passed away. And I made a tribute video, which, just consists of, like, obviously various like cuts of his films and just two particular sound bites that, just meant something to me, especially the first one. And he was talking about humble beginnings, like how, you're still in your humble beginnings when you find yourself questioning your path, or other people questioning your path, or like these certain struggles that we're talking about, saying like maybe not having as much money and stuff like that. I forgot where I was going with it, but yeah.
I think all in all, I think is being able to understand the two sides of it, because I think that's the growth that comes in, right? Whereas, like, the discovery, when that discovery first happened, when it first happened for me, I was so excited. It was literally like being reborn. Like, whatever I knew before just went out the door. It was like a whole mind shift. Like, oh my God, bro, you're an artist for real. Like, it's not just something you do for sport. This is your path. Yeah. Right.
This is what I meant. This is where I was actually going with it. So because I spent a lot of time doing what I thought other people wanted me to do, or front end, like, I wanted to do something else. So I literally remember like telling my dad, like, oh yeah, I think I might want to be a CPA, like a freaking accountant or some BS. Y'all can't even imagine that. You know what I'm saying? Like, or yo, there was at one point I didn't know what I was gonna do with myself. I almost joined the army, dead ass. Like, I was like this close from joining the army, like back in 2015, because again, like, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, like, literally. And if I had joined, right, I would have still been in there right now. Like, facts, because they get you in there for like 10 years active duty and then another 8 years in reserve. So picture me being over there. And then, like, I had my pops dead ass telling me, oh man, you should have joined the army. I don't know what you're still doing here. Like, yo, dead ass. Like, so me, when I heard him talk about his parents, it's like, because I had to develop that, like, I think you called me a savage or some shit like that, but I had to develop that fuck you attitude. Like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm living life on my terms. Because the thing is, when you're 65, 75, 85 years old, if you make it that long, when you look back at your life, you don't want to look back saying, oh, I made decisions based on other people's perceptions. Because you know how many times, like, I've legit, from not just black people, but I've had, someone else, like a white person, tell me you can't do what you want to do in your life. Like, legit. Like, she literally said, like, yo, you can't do what you want in life. You have to get a job and you got to work.
That is crazy to me.
Legit. But you'd be surprised at the amount of people that, again, what gets them up in the morning is I have bills to pay. And what is paying bills? You're just lining somebody else's pockets. if I'm gonna do that, at least let that money come from what I love to do. Because life is
at
short,
least a
but it's
little
long as
bit.
hell.
Yeah.
It's very. I think it's just different for everybody. Is everybody, and you know what works for you. What I'm not doing is explaining myself. That's what I'm not doing, and that part stops. But the challenge is when your parents want to they want to get updated with what you're doing, but when you do say whatever you're doing, the response is just, bro, like it's like I can see that even when you're trying, you don't get it. So I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm doing. If you're waiting for the big whatever that means, because I'm not gonna lie, when my first movie came out and it was in theaters and I forgot
What movie was that?
Amazon Prime. But listen,
what was the movie?
It's called Lovebirds. Yeah,
okay.
Act like y'all know. Don't play with it. Lovebirds.
No, you never told
Amazon.
me. I didn't know.
Yeah, you would know if you stay 5 minutes after the show. Anyway,
don't listen
I'm
to
not
this
letting
guy,
this
yo.
go.
Don't listen to this guy,
I'm gonna talk. One thing Phil's gonna do is talk. So listen, Lovebirds, starring Jim Ike, Stella Damascus, Joseph Ben. These are all big Nollywood, like legendary actors I watched as a kid, and we shot in Atlanta. So it was kind of, and I had a leading role. You know, when that movie came out, my dad called everybody in the world. My son is in the movie. In fact, he's his movie. In fact, he made the movie himself. It was crazy. I'm like, wow, that's,
you know why?
crazy.
Because it gets to the point where, and I feel like I'm at that point now where if people see you doing something, and when it comes to your parents, like if you might not be famous, you might not be rich, but if they see you making moves, then like even if they don't support, they're gonna get out your way. You know what I'm saying? Because me, it's like I've been constantly doing stuff, and I have like social proof to kind of go along with that. You know what I'm saying? So even if they don't support, they can't say you're not doing nothing. Like it's long past like, oh, I want to be an actor because I'm doing the shit.
Doing it,
you know what I'm saying? Like I'm doing it. You know, any opportunity that I'm gonna say any opportunity, but again, like over the years, you know, the last 3, 4, 5 years, what have I been up to? This, you know what I'm saying? Because I met Percy doing background. You know what I'm saying? We did, it was, I think I did She's Gotta Have It like 4 times.
She's Gotta Have It,
yeah. Like 3 or 4 times. And that's when I met him. So they always know me to be either on a set or on a stage, you know what I'm saying? One or the other, you know what I'm saying? And then now YouTube. So it's like when I'm not, you know, doing that, I'm doing this and I'm building that up. So people know I'm about the shit that I say. So if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to make good on what, you know what I'm saying? I'm a man of my word. So I'm past that.
You just got to show them. Just keep showing them.
Not facts.
You know,
but go ahead, bro. My bad.
Oh no, I was gonna say this industry it's different. You know, our industry is not. It's not an immediate base where when you work a corporate job, you know you're going to get paid in 3 weeks after you start working. So a lot of people gauge success based off, oh, okay, you working at Wall Street, you know, you're making $85,000. See, that's what you need to be doing. But meanwhile, I know a lot of people who work those jobs who are burnt out, have no time to themselves. They drink every week, and it's like, you know, it comes at a price. It's not for everybody, but for me, I think the best thing about being an actor is being able to express and learning from other people. I think that's the key thing about it. And I think a lot of parents, although some of them do support it, a lot of them see it as, you know, especially for me living out in LA, I see it all the time. A lot of people move here for acting, you know, and their parents try to discourage them and they haven't booked a job in, you know, 8 to 10 years, but you see how they live, you think they're a celebrity. So it's like, you know, I think a lot of parents see it like, I don't want you struggling. I want to see you on the street. I want to see you 35 years old, you know, still having no full income. It's a very unpredictable job. And until you get to that level where people constantly calling your agent, calling you, booking you, it's hard to have a consistent yearly income, which I understand.
Yeah, but those are struggles. Those are struggles that like I don't complain about because I invited it my way. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like it's like, you know, like me and Kofi, we were talking about like having girlfriends and then not, you know, having as much money to take them out and stuff like that. Valentine's Day coming up and stuff like that. And I legit had to have, and I legit had to have that conversation with my girl. You know what I'm saying? And these are the struggles that comes with that. Like, do you guys like? I know y'all watch Power, Kofi, because I heard you talking about Power before. The actor that plays Tommy, because they did the podcast, like the podcast that Tariq and Braden that they got on YouTube, and he was saying that he wasn't he didn't get to a point where he felt financially free until his late 30s. And it was saying like, yo, kind of like how if someone came up to you, Felix, and said, "Oh, I want to be an actor," you'd be like, "Yo, why you want to be an actor?" Because yo, that shit, the road is not for the faint of heart. You know, because that's one of it, like not being supported by parents and not having as much bread. And I feel like that is kind of pretty much it, like as far as like what really comes with that. But it's harder than it sounds. It's way harder than it sounds, you know, at least to me.
Right. And if I could give advice to parents or I don't know if any of your listeners are parents or whatever, maybe young parents or whatever, because sometimes it's almost like they don't know how to support. Can I tell you how to support parents? Just don't say a word. Just watch them work and just encourage. Like you could ask questions. If something is not clear, let them explain it to you. Really see their talent. If your child really don't got that talent, you could be like, you know what, don't quit your day job, bro. Or be like, you know what, go to the film school or music school or something to learn.
Just invest in it.
And if you have any bit of finance, try to financially give them a little backup because that they literally need that to pursue this. They can't get the money when they start, but they need like something to keep them going. It's not easy, and I get it, but you have to really believe in, is this one in a million ideology? No, there are a lot of working actors that you don't know their name. They're making money. They live their lives. They're on every other show. They might play a few roles. You know their face. You see their face all the time, but you don't know their name. You know, they live silently. They get on the train. They have millions in their account. It's not about the fame. They equivalent our industry with fame.
And you know what's funny?
Job.
And my goal kind of changed a little bit where I just want to just like be able to support myself doing this like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like fame, whatever. I don't even care. I just want to support myself doing that. Like if I could just, you know, cover, you know, my overhead with this, I'll be fine. You know what I'm saying?
Stability,
like being a working actor is the goal, honestly. Like let me just be a working actor. You know what I'm saying? Let me go from struggling to working. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be straight from there.
I always tell people if you're gonna get into this industry because you want to be like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, well, you got a long. I meet a lot of people, especially I always use LA because I see it all the time here. Who they haven't booked a job in 10 years, haven't been in a acting class in 8 years, but they think they're the one to be the next big thing in Hollywood. That's not how it works. You got to be out there hustling, and if that's what you trying to attain. I'm not going to stop you, but just realize unless you get the luckiest call in the world that you about to be playing Chris Hemsworth's best friend in another Thor movie, chances are you're going to be struggling. And I think you have to take that into consideration. A lot of people think it's all glitz and glamour when they watch these shows or they go on Instagram and they see some of these actors posted on set and whatever, but they don't realize how much work goes on behind the scenes, So
yeah, but let me shift the conversation a little bit. Let me ask y'all. So, who is your favorite actor and director that like inspired you? So it's like when I look at you as a performer, where does the inspiration for that come from? Like because it had to come from somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like you had to
Felix
about to say
himself.
Felix about to say himself. Oh, Felix about to say himself?
I want to thank me.
Damn liar. Get out of here.
I think. I'm the same way with music. It's like when people say your favorite actor, favorite film, I don't know why it's such a hard question to answer because I think maybe it changes at times, maybe at different phases in different times. But I think because I didn't grow up. Some people really knew they wanted to be an actor since they were a child. Like it's like I want to be an actor. They looked out for it. They watched plays. They worked at it. Like I told you, I had the epiphany. It clicked because it was something I just did naturally. So it wasn't a craft. But there were some people I saw on TV.
Who's the definitive one? Like number one. Like you,
man,
style.
I'll go and I'll let him think.
Yeah, so we're gonna let you think about it.
Well, I think once I started acting and started like paying attention to them, I don't want to say the cliche ones, but Denzel, because I actually got to meet him at the Pan African Film Festival and he shook my hand. I never watched it again ever since then.
Oh, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's very like it's feeling and stuff. But because I saw him in person, it wasn't just in the movies, and what I saw was this this embodiment of like, I mean, his spirit is so divine and heavy. From afar, you could feel his in tuneness with himself, with his higher self, with God. And then the things he talked about his struggle, how it started, I could relate to a lot of things he said. Like some of the things he talked about, like when he started, he was always very selective with his work. Before he was Denzel, he was always still like, you know, he was aware of the whole time frame and how he expressed, you know, the way things were kind of the flow of his journey. And then when I started to watch his films again, because I'd seen them as a kid, but this was me as an active adult. So it was more different. There was like, I feel like the kind of roles he chose was a wide range. I feel like a lot of good actors, they might have good roles, but they stick to it. You know, like Dwayne Rock Johnson, I'm sorry. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. He's good at what he does, but I you know what I'm saying? I don't feel like I see emotion in the face. You know, it could be the steroids. But sorry, I just got that
shots
in
fired.
I'll be talking my mouth. I'm so sorry. But what I'm trying to say is I literally had a conversation with I said, do you want to be a Dwayne Johnson or do you want to be a Denzel?
We actually had he did a podcast.
I was just thinking,
and we had a whole thing about
that. It was a whole thing because those are the two examples. Because Dwayne Rock, and even like Kevin Hart for comedy, I'll put in as examples that they found their niche and they harnessed it. They're working hard. They're hustlers. I'm not saying they don't have the talent. They do, but Denzel is willing to be more versatile. He could do the action, he could do the comedy. Maybe it's not as funny.
So you take inspiration from Denzel? Because Kofi ain't talking a minute, so let Kofi say something.
I'm sorry. No. I want to hear Felix keep talking. But I love that you brought up Dwayne Johnson and Denzel, because I kind of think of like Arnold, what's his name, Schwarzenegger, that's dude from Terminator and stuff. Someone was saying this the other day, but action stars are not like, you know, they're not big anymore. I think it was Anthony Mackie. He said
we
that.
talked about that.
We actually talked about that on my channel and his, that there are no movie stars now. Like there's no like big movie stars anymore. So it's like the Simu Liu from Shang-Chi, he's not a movie star. Shang-Chi is the movie star. Or let's say Shuri, Letitia Wright is not a movie star. The character of Shuri is the movie star, because the thing is the box office
and I love it that way.
Not translate. And what'd you say?
I was saying that I love it that way because honestly, it just gives more room for real talent. If I'm being real with you, like a lot of movie stars, like I'm not gonna shade anybody, but it's just like a lot of the time you just see a lot of people taking up the same roles, and it's just like, okay, that's it. Like that's all you can do.
Yeah.
Like where's the range? Where's the acting chops? What is something that's, you know, who I respect so much as an actor? Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy's such a versatile actor, man. Like literally I didn't even know he was in Peaky Blinders, and I was watching Peaky Blinders, and I was like, yo, this man did Venom, he did Peaky, like he's been in so many things, and it's just like that's what I look at, and I'm like, that's an actor. Like I can't look at like these movie stars and be like, yeah, they're acting. No, because they built a brand off of themselves, right? So you're coming in as yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with that, but I do think that as an artist, you have to dig a lot deeper. It's not about you. It's not really about you. You know, it can't be about you. And I guess that's the whole Dwayne. I like that you said Dwayne Johnson and Denzel, because I feel like a lot of people they don't look at it anymore as like they want to come in and work and try to become like a Denzel. They're just trying to become a movie star.
Yeah. Because what's funny, because we debated on like a bunch of different things. And what I was saying to him was, although like my whole inspiration, or the guy that I would credit for me even wanting to be an actor, was Will Smith. The thing is, like, I wouldn't plot my career around his, because my whole thing is I want to be like an actor's actor. I don't want to be like the just the blockbuster guy, or like you're just, you know, boxed in that lane, if you get what I'm saying. Because I told him, we were talking about Static Shock, right? And how, like, so we were saying, like, what did you say? I think you asked me, you were like, if they offer me Static Shock, would I take it? And I said, like, Like, all right, so if I were to be Nigel in freaking Static Shock and I get it wrong, I'm never gonna get an opportunity to do any more movies ever. Because you gotta understand, like when you do these big blockbuster films and they flop, it's a wrap. Like, you know what I'm saying? Think about it. Like the Demetrius Shipp Jr., the guy who played Tupac. Have you seen him in anything else of that caliber since then?
No. You
haven't. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is I would rather kind of be like an Andrew Garfield or, you know, I want to say Denzel, but probably a little bit more in that lane, even though I take more inspiration from Will Smith, you know, just in terms of his acting ability. Because I was watching Emancipation last night and he did his thing. He did his thing in Emancipation. It was great. I liked it. I don't know if y'all seen it.
Yeah, Will Smith.
You haven't seen it yet. Definitely watch it. Definitely watch it. He's giving a free trial promotion for Apple TV, so you can actually watch it for free.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. But you know, because I'm actually have a question. Denzel, I grew up right next to Fordham Road, so Fordham University. So I used to hear about Denzel and Fordham all the time. And I actually read about his backstory of him being a garbage man. And I'm like, I watch him. He seems like a humble dude. You don't see him in the newspaper getting in trouble. You know, this is a dude I aspire to be. I'm a hardcore Denzel Washington supporter. But one of the questions, because me, like Dimitri said, we was talking about this. I want to ask you a question, you know, especially right now, where with the lack, you know, with superhero movies dominating the box office, right? There's only so many films you could do that's going to compete with Marvel. It's like at this point, Emancipation, as good as Will Smith is going to have to, you know, let's say if Spider-Man No Way Home came on, Emancipation would have to compete with Spider-Man. And if it doesn't do well, then unfortunately, you know, bam. But it's Will Smith, so he could kind of get away with that.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you a question, you know, especially in the landscape of Hollywood. You get to a point, you know, when you're acting at that level, you have to make a choice. You could do something, let's say there's variations of the roles you did in Quanzaland. Let's say you get your career is you become different variations of that character, but you could command 25 million per role. But you could go, let's say you want to go the diverse route like a Will Smith. And you know, you do that, but instead of 25 million, you probably only get offered $1 million per role. And which role would you choose? Because at some point, your creative choice does play a part in your finances. And you know, what do you think?
I'm gonna just throw this out there because this is what I said in our debate before. That Denzel said, you're not the sum of the roles that you take. You're the sum of the roles that you don't take. You know what I'm saying? Right. And for me, it's not like my creative choices as an actor are not rooted in finances or like how much money I'm going to get. Because sometimes you can take the big money, the movie screws up, and then part of what people didn't like was your performance. That's the last time you're getting a $5 million, you know, payday from a film. So, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like show me the script before you show me how much I'm getting paid. Mm-hmm. Like for me personally.
I would just say I'm about quality over quantity. And I've always been like that. I'd rather do one amazing movie than do 10 stupid ones. Like for me, knowing that I'm a part of a project and it not being up to par, and I'm always never impressed by stuff, and especially knowing like you might do your acting thing, maybe the sound is wrong, maybe the lighting is wrong, something, right? Or the story or the character. I think is knowing the kind of career that you want to have as well. Like you want to be known as an actor that is like, man, they could do anything. Another random good example I was thinking about was Eddie Murphy. Like, let's put some respect on his name, man. Facts. He does comedy, but when he gets dramatic, he gets dramatic. You know what I'm saying? So a wide range, and actors. Or do you want to make a lot of money and make big bucks and still do your thing? Everybody has their niche, and that's okay. It is, honestly.
Peace. Right now, you know, I think me and Felix had this conversation, but right now I'm like quantity over quality. I don't want to say quantity over quality, actually. I don't even think I would say quantity over quality, but I've definitely done a lot more.
Oh, real quick, I'm sorry. Have you seen this movie before?
No, I haven't seen nothing. I'm
aware. How you gonna talk about Eddie Murphy and you ain't seen this movie before? It's a drama. It's one of his dramas. This is not a funny movie. This is a drama. This is called Metro. It's actually a good movie. I like it. But my bad. Now continue. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
As he mentioned Eddie Murphy.
I'm gonna keep this short because I'm in a weird spot right now too because I'm even just trying to figure out what it is that propels me to even take a role in particular, right? And obviously the script does play a major part into that. But then a lot of the times I go into I'll read a script and maybe it might not even be the best script, and I'll just be like, I feel like I could take this. I could feel like I could take the script to the next level, right? And I just love that. I like that's me. Like I'm just really. But sometimes like you have to pick your battles, pick and choose them. But right now I'm not. I wouldn't say because I wouldn't say quality all the way over quantity because I feel like that's part of it as being an artist in general, which is always. I feel like it's always you always should be working in a way, like. And some people, as you said, some people are really selective with their roles. But for me, I'm one of those people who's like, I always want to be constantly working. And I'm not gonna take any role that's thrown at me. Like, yeah, I won't take any role. But if roles are being thrown at me, I'm not gonna like just be selective and be like, okay, I'm only gonna do. There are actors who do like one, maybe 3 movies a year, or maybe two, 3 movies a year, and there are actors who do like they're working.
Like saying Samuel Jackson, because that's why he's got such a big ass filmography because he was constantly doing movies. Even if, and mind you, a lot of those movies, he wasn't the star of the movie either.
Right, it was just there, getting his coins.
All right, so like, I was just gonna say just to refine the question. So like, would you take Kofi Felix Percy? So would you take the $10-20 million starring Marvel film, right? So you're a Marvel superhero, right? In the MCU, or would you take the 250,000 critical success film? And I'm trying to think of like a Cannes Film Festival like winner, but again, you're only getting paid $250,000 or 100,000.
Well, it wouldn't.
So like big blockbuster, $10-20 million. You know what I'm saying? MCU, and you're locked in a six movie contract. So you got to do your movies and you got to do all the Avenger films and then the crossover films that they want your character in between. Or you're going to do give me like a director. All right, so you're doing, or let's say like a smaller Ava DuVernay film or something like that. Like a, you know what I'm saying? Like a period piece.
Not you calling Ava DuVernay smaller. Let's start first.
I'm not saying that, but I'm using her as an example because she didn't she direct the Central Park 5?
Yeah, she's done a lot.
But that wasn't a big blockbuster film. It was a film that was like an Oscar-worthy film, a Golden Globe Award film, an award-worthy film. So I'm asking y'all.
Before I forget, because I just got like the perfect response because I don't like when options are choosing this or the other because I feel like, okay, why? All right, but let me tell you why. Hold on, because sometimes it kind of goes hand in hand. Let me tell you why. Because you said the MCU, Marvel movie, and then the other Oscar-winning kind of movie. Well, Marvel movies are winning Oscars now, so it's a little different, right? That's
only because of Angela Bassett. Only because of Angela Bassett, and she carried that movie on her back. But if it wasn't for her, that movie would was trash. And I told you guys that before. So again, that was only Angela Bassett is okay. So let's not associate MCU.
It wasn't just Angela Bassett
because you know what they did? They had the audacity to kill her off. So not only did she carry that movie on her back, they killed her for character.
Hold on. I
didn't
even know that.
He didn't watch the movie.
He didn't watch the movie. Well, don't blame me for that. We're in January and you didn't see Wakanda Forever. That's not my fault. So sorry for the spoiler, but that's sorry.
I've been on tour. Listen, no, but what I was saying is I think it just depends on that's number one. And Black Panther won awards before, so things is changing a little bit. My thing is it depends on where you are. Normally, my answer would be I want to do the Cannes movie, which I still want to do. But if I have to choose right now, I would want to do the Marvel movie because I feel like I'm craving something that is like that. I'm literally like out here training with my sword. Like I want to do an action kind of movie. That's where I feel like I'm at right now. Not like I wouldn't take the other one right now, but like that's where I'm at right now. I'm ready. Where my 20 million at? Where's my money?
So
bring him his money.
Bring my money.
He wants the dollars. He wants the
dollars. Run me that check because I'm taking Marvel movies easily.
Right now.
And Kofi. You were gonna elaborate?
Yeah, I was gonna just say the only reason why I say that is, although I get what you're saying, Felix, there is a point. Like the Dwayne The Rock Johnson, for instance, when he first came into Hollywood, he was doing Walking Tall, Rundown, Doom. He had a couple other projects. But then he got to a point where he's like, you know what? My charisma is recognized by everyone. and works in these movies, I might as well use it to my advantage. That's why, like, people always ask me about my hair. When you gonna cut it? Oh, yeah, I love it. Or whatever the case may be. Everybody having their opinion. But I look at it as this. I can finally go from having to wait for the next actor job to now people calling me, hey, bro, we have this role in this movie for you. You want it? And then I could just negotiate my salary from then on. I don't have to worry about the audition and compete with, multiple other people, which is not wrong with that. But for me personally, being in this industry for so long, you get to a point where it's like, okay, at one point, when you start seeing that returning investment, spend all that money on headshots or on these casting websites, and now you're finally making money to pay rent, actually enjoy life. Why not get the bag as quickly as possible? And especially now, superhero movies is like the thing now anyway. They dominate the box office. So although you may not have the same diversity appeal as a Denzel, which I do love, unfortunately, we are living in a time where Captain America, Thor, Ant-Man are the people that people want to see. So, but go ahead. I didn't want to take too much time.
Ooh, that I'm not gonna lie. This is actually a tough question. I was thinking about this the whole time. I still don't even have an answer because I'm really tempted by the 250,000, like the smaller kind of production. And the only reason why I say that is because, man, pressure. Like, even when you get, like, I can see, like, you see someone like a Felix, right? He gets that role. It's like, I already know that he's gonna come in and he's gonna make those choices, right? For me, as an actor right now, if someone was to come in here and be like, here, I have a Marvel movie here for you, right? And it's not like it's not that I don't think that I could do it, but I kind of want to be a little bit stable myself as an artist before I even before I take that role. And that's what I would go with. I would go with the smaller one. I'd go with the smaller production.
Same thing here.
Because it would just allow me. It would just allow me you know what? It would allow me a lot more flexibility as an artist too. Because sometimes when you go into a Marvel set and they're like, they want this character this way.
There's not a lot of leg room because once Kevin Feige walk in, it's a wrap.
That's what I'm saying. Some people are able to, like, some people at their points and their stages in their artistry are able to walk in and they're able to take that and still find a way to make it their own.
Right.
And I'm not saying that I can't do that, but at the same time, I don't want to put that much pressure on myself right now. I'm not losing my hair.
But that's exactly what I said. That's what I said last time. And the thing is, to me, those 200, like, so let's say if your filmography as an actor is primarily comprised of those critically acclaimed films, like they might not be the big blockbusters, but again, it's comprised of films that were well received, right? You're going to get more work versus, again, let's say a MCU actor. It's just true because Shang-Chi came out, last year or 2 years ago? Right. Mm-hmm. And he's got plenty of time in between Shang-Chi and the next one, but have we seen him in anything since? We haven't. Maybe he's not that great.
Yeah, maybe
he's what?
You know what though?
I said maybe he's not that great of an actor because what I'm just trying to say, I'm not saying he is or isn't. What I'm trying to say is, like, if Denzel were to do a Marvel movie, Denzel gonna Denzel it out. So I think it's not. Even comparing the two, they're not so far in the same. They're just different genres. What I'm saying is, like, maybe now these Marvel stories could start to have real stories in the action, in the adventure. Like back in the day, the kind of action movies we watched, they still had their dramatic moments. They still had it's not even about drama. It's just about still finding something real about it, right? Well, like when they kill a character, you want to still care about that.
Well, here's the problem with Marvel films right now is the fact that, so from phase 1 to phase 3, they were about the individual character arcs and the character development and stories. I feel like now it's all about setting up for the next thing. So it's like you can't just watch a Marvel movie now and just take it in for what it is now, because a lot of the plot is setting up for the next thing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So you get what I'm saying, and it takes away from the story. That's why, like, when was the last Marvel film that I could say that I liked? It was No Way Home, and the majority of that had to do with the fact that they brought in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. But Tom Holland's Peter Parker, I didn't like him, so he couldn't carry that. I have videos on my channel basically saying that, like, I don't like Tom Holland. You know what I'm saying? Because again, he can't carry his own Spider-Man films on. But think about it though, because I grew up watching Tobey Maguire. I came up watching Andrew Garfield. What I like about Tom Holland Spider-Man really has very little to do with him as an actor and everything to do with the MCU as a whole. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So me, I would rather, again, build up, like, I would rather my filmography look like, again, Samuel Jackson or freaking, Lawrence Fishburne, guys like that. Because, again, it's like, it was about story and it was about, like, the artistry versus the box office numbers that it was supposed to yield. Because you can even have a good movie, but sometimes if it's a blockbuster, people are going to consider it a failure because it didn't get X amount of hundreds of millions in the box office. I don't want my career to be defined by box office success, because look at Andrew Garfield, because he's one of my favorite actors. He left Spider-Man, and then look at him now. He still does other films just as good as Spider-Man, if not better. His career is not, like, it's not defined by how well his films do. Look at Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I liked Black Adam, but because Black Adam only grossed like 300 million worldwide, people said it was a failure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even Will Smith. Will Smith had to deal with box office pressure throughout his whole entire career. It's only now in the twilight of his career that he's not worried about it as much. But before Independence Day, Men in Black, I, Robot, I Am Legend, freaking Shark Tales, what was his other film? After Earth, Focus. All of those films were made with the intention of money and not story. Now he's doing Emancipation. Now he's doing King Richards and stuff like that. But he had to go through just all of that pressure. And it's like you said, who's trying to lose hair over that?
Bro, and that is now, bro. Like, I feel like that is now where every single movie is being made for money, and that's why you can't.
It's a business, though.
It's no quality, bro.
But it's the duality of that, right? Is being able to make quality and make money. I feel like we need, like, one of those canned writers or those real artists to create a story and still infuse that. It doesn't have to be one or the other. I feel like the reason why is this commercial thing, not just in films and music, is like they feel like they know what people want. There's a box that they put, like, this is how we want it to do, and this, we're spending this money, we're gonna make this money. However, people still like good stories. Still, people still want to feel something. Like, people want to react when somebody gets killed in an action movie and actually means something, not just, oh yeah, this just happens all the time. So I think that balance will come from there. And me actually choosing this is surprising me, because I normally would say that. And you know what actually made me think about that was doing this Kwanzaa show. Like, I'm doing stunts, I'm jumping up and down, I'm sweating, I'm whatever. And I'm like, you want to
be an action star. You want to be an action star.
Did y'all see my opening scene? Y'all need to see the stuff.
That's the thing. I never saw it because we were backstage.
But that's what.
But I'm gonna say this: I would rather work with Jordan Peele and Spike Lee way over MCU. Facts. If my filmography was, again, revolved around doing Spike Lee, Jordan Peele, a smaller Ryan Coogler film, I'll do those. Because the thing is, because people said, like, oh, you look like Chadwick Boseman, all this other types of stuff, right? Here's my thing. I wouldn't, especially very early on in my career, I wouldn't want to be responsible for leading a big ass blockbuster film like that. Because let's say a Black Panther came out and it flopped, who are they going to get mad at? They're not going to get mad at Ryan Coogler. They're not going to get mad at Kevin Feige. They're not going to get mad at the supporting cast. You know who they get mad at? Chadwick Boseman. Facts.
If Chadwick Boseman can't do the accent rights, then maybe if he, and which he didn't do the accent right, it pissed me off to this day.
Well, he's not here. No Chadwick Boseman slander will be tolerated on this year's show.
If you get on set,
I want to hear it.
I'm just saying, if you act your butt off on set, nobody can tell you shit. It's like, this ain't my fault. You saw what I did on that camera. You saw my kick. You saw my choices. So it's not that.
But unfortunately, when you're a leader man,
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Defy Bloods, Get Out. Like, I like those films more than MCU films. Facts. But nah, my bad. Go ahead, bro.
Let me just say that if this was a 10-year ago conversation, I would easily go to the same route like you talking, Dimitri, bouncing around. But even now, like, you're starting to see veteran actors who have that type of that diversity in their roles. They're all now starting to do superhero movies because they realize at the end of the day, I don't like it, but unfortunately, a lot of production companies are like, all right, I want to release a film in the summer, but we all know Marvel's going to be releasing a superhero movie in the summer too. So now it's becoming, okay, I want to, if I spend $150 million, I want to at least make 500 million to recoup my losses and whatever, get a return. But imagine if Spider-Man No Way for Home comes out the weekend after. The sales are dried up because they know everybody's going there. And partially, it's not just Marvel's fault, but it's our fault. Because as the consumer, we've made the expectation where a lot of production companies, unfortunately, don't want to put that type of money into a new project because now they're looking at it like, damn, son, I could make this money, but ain't no way I'll compete with Doctor Strange or a Thor movie, let alone an Avenger movie.
And you know what's funny? Because when we did that podcast, I didn't know that Devotion, the Jonathan Majors and Glenn Powell film, I didn't know that was a flop. Like that movie flopped in the box office. And that was, I mean, I'm not going to say it was supposed to be a big blockbuster film, but you would assume that after, like let's say in anticipation of Ant-Man 3, because he was just Kang in Loki, and then coming off of Top Gun Maverick, you would think a film like that would work in the box office. And it didn't.
Right.
So just like how we were saying before, it's like for actors now, a lot of times people are going to go with, again, like the $20 million, MCU, because that's guaranteed bread. And what did I say before? It's like, yo, that's basically living off of being an actor. You know what I'm saying? Yep. I mean, there's certain things that come with it because the woman, Zoe Saldana from Guardians of the Galaxy, and she did Drumline, she was saying how, like, she's been able to do, Marvel films, but then now she's kind of been fake pigeonholed and doing just these blockbusters. Because what is she in? Guardians of the Galaxy and Avatar. We don't talk about her films outside of that anymore. So you get stuck.
It's a balance.
Yeah, I'll let you go. I just want to make this point. It's no right or wrong answer here. It really just depends on you, especially it also depends on your age. For us, being in our 20s, it might be financially wise for us to say, you know what, we can be flexible. But if you're in your 30s, you're probably in a long-term relationship. You're thinking about a family. Now it becomes a point, all right, do I want to be running around, 300 days a year, trying to, do a film over here, or I can just stay in my hometown. I know they're going to call me, hey, yo, 15 million, I want you to do this role. And, now you can just do that, film that, go back home, and it's just rinse and repeat. It's no right or wrong answer, but
right.
Well, I will say this, because I did say it before. If I were to do, like a Black Panther audition, and they're like, yeah, we want you to be the new T'Challa, because I don't know if you've seen at the end of the film, like, one, he's got a son at the end of the movie, and no one's going to wait for that little kid to grow up and finally do Black Panther. They're going to get somebody older to come in. I'm not saying no, for Black Panther at least. If
I'm not saying no either.
Exactly.
It's a risk. It's a risk you got to take.
Well, because here's the thing. Unlike DC films, Marvel films, like, even if, like, you might not like them, I feel like most people who didn't like Thor are kind of close to the material. So they're like actual Marvel fans or Thor fans enough to dislike it. But generally speaking, these aren't bad films. Like, if you're just going to go see a film, like, I didn't like Wakanda Forever, but let's say if I wasn't like a big MCU fan, I would have liked the film. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was just a casual, walking off the street. So,
yeah,
all right. No, go ahead. All I was gonna say is, like I said, I don't think is. First of all, I wish we had different kind of choices, because, like, I'm the kind of actor that I want to do everything. Not everything, but I mean, like, things I know I could do comedy, I know I could do acting, I could do action, whatever. So if they were both free, I'm not even thinking about the money aspect of it. It's literally like where I'm at now, training and stuff like that, because I do want to see action movies that I feel like with Kwanzaa Play, we saw everything. We saw there's music, there's it's funny, there's some dramatic moments. I'm like, yo, y'all could really make a movie and have people, you could go through the whole ba 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 ba, and then have those moments that are heavy and real, not just somebody dying or the character crying about some corny stuff, but something that's still real, still tell a story. I feel like that's the kind of action blockbuster I would like to do that still has some bigger impact, what I'm saying? And I want to still do those cans and all that stuff and be all blah blah blah. They still want to make money. It's still a business, bro. Like, we can't. I want to get past the struggle. Like,
well, let me ask you something. So, what's a role, like a role that you would not take, like an absolute role you like? Let's say how like they like the conversation has always been like how they want to put black men in dresses and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's a role that you absolutely would never take, like, ever in life? And you can give a movie as an example. So, like, this role, I would never do a role like that. Because I know mine. So I'll say
I
for
don't
me,
know.
right? So while y'all thinking, I would never do a role where I'm physically abusing a woman. I don't know if you guys ever saw What's Love Got to Do with It, but I can never like sit with a character. So let's say I can never sit with the script and then say I can wear that character's shoes. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, he was playing someone that actually existed, but I wouldn't even want to go through what it takes to even shoot those scenes. Because what's funny, Lawrence Fishburne turned down that role 5 times. And most recently, he did an interview with I think it's Jamel Hill. That might have been her. I'm not sure, but he did an interview with her, and he was just saying how like the domestic violence scenes where he was violent with Angela Bassett, or like the rape scenes, he had to tell the director like, "Yo, we're only gonna do 4 takes of this because I don't want to like tread that volatile emotional landscape all freaking day. I don't want to do that. Period." Now, and what's funny, the only reason why, and I didn't know this, and I figured the only reason why he was even able to do that role was because he used to be physically abusive with his first wife when he was in his early 20s. So he was familiar with, what goes into a man feeling like I gotta slap my wife. I gotta put hands on her. He was already familiar with that. I'm not familiar with that territory. So if somebody offered that shit to me, it's like I wouldn't want to do it, even if the money was good, because I just don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Like, because unfortunately, and I'm gonna let y'all go ahead. Like, I saw that film at a very young age. Unfortunately, you know what I'm saying? Parents, didn't do a good job censoring the damn TV. So I seen that, and it's like, I wouldn't want to be that guy, because perception is reality. Because I hated him for a very long time, and it took me seeing like 5 or 6 other good Lawrence Fishburne films to balance it out. Because think about it, a lot of people, it's like the television is their way of detaching from reality. Like Michael Rainey Jr. was saying, how so many people come up to him talking about how much they hate Tariq because Tariq shot Omari Hardwick. Perception is reality. So why would I want to ever present myself to an audience as a woman abuser? I can't do it.
Honestly, for me, it's gonna be short and sweet. Cause I have certain things I just wouldn't do a period acting, but in terms of role, I've always prayed and I've always stuck to it so far. Playing a gangbanger, because I think that's a tired trope that Black people need to stop portraying. Because for me growing up, I used to always see Black people, for the most part, play criminals, slinging drugs, and now we have power. Not role of power, but again, it perpetuating that stereotype that Black people are only into crime. So,
yeah,
me personally, I just wouldn't do anything related to doing some type of illegal activity.
I hear that.
I think for me, I was gonna say gangbanger or like drug dealer of some sort. I don't like those. It's cool when you watch those on TV and it's like, wow, like this actor is really doing this thing. But for me to go, I'm just not a. It's just overplayed for me in a way.
I hear
So
that.
I just
Facts.
I'm kind of over it. But I was gonna say I had this conversation with this guy in the Uber, and he's actually a filmmaker, and he was telling me, we having a conversation. He's telling me, he's like, you know what role I really hate? I hate when they portray Black men as dumb. Like those what was that show with the Wayne brother?
The
Oh,
show?
Yeah, there's a show with with one of the Wayne's brothers.
One of them. Oh yeah, I don't know.
It's him. It's the one with him and the girl from Martin, Gina. Is it Gina?
Was it Sean?
My
I
wife
knew
and
you
older
kids.
brother?
about.
My wife and kids.
My wife and kids. Yeah, my
Yeah,
wife and kids. So you see what's his name?
Oh,
I
Damon
played
Wayans.
like
Damon Wayans.
David was the older.
yeah.
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 So that like look at how every time his son like how his son plays like a dumb role. That's all they know him as. They know him as the dummy, the
Like in real
goofy
life.
guy.
But
In real life,
yeah, like he'd
you know what
be
I'm saying?
he'd be bugging out. Like his every role, like
That's
but, and he
Perception is
makes that
reality. Like I
choice.
said, perception is reality. People
No, but
perceive
that
it that way.
he's choosing these roles, and he's goofy. He's a funny person. It's like
Well,
anyway.
but there's only one actor, and even if he hears this shit, I don't care. Like in the future, but the guy who plays Zeke from Power, that nigga's dumb in real life. I'm sorry, he's an idiot in real life. I'm sorry. Like he's actually not smart, because if you watch some of his interviews, it's hard to watch. Because I'm thinking, word, saying young black actor, let me watch this interview. And it's like I felt like my brain cells were going out the window just listening to this dude talk. And I'm like, oh shit, this nigga's really like that in real life.
When people call you slow, you heard that, right?
But they don't know me. They so entranced with the character that they think it's me. Well, I think that's cool.
It's an act.
But so, I mean, sometimes I'm not I wouldn't say I'm all knowing, but there's definitely things I might be, slower at, but I'm definitely capable of understanding and learning.
So there's some people where like, yeah, they're actually really stupid, and he one of them. That nigga's one of them. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do it only because, again, my thing always goes to perception of black people. Like, that's how they're gonna see you. They're gonna see you as a black man on the screen, and that's how I'm not gonna give you the chance with that. What 6ix9ine said, I'm not gonna give you the chance. I'm not gonna give you the opportunity to sit there and think that black men are just like dumb. Like you're not going. It's not happening.
Because films are important, like because in a way, especially the bigger that it is, it's how we're presented to the world, especially to like other cultures. So when you got shows like, I like Snowfall, I enjoy it. I'm not gonna lie, or Power, or I don't like BMF. And then they are actually calling or referring to these real life, characters as like legends. I'm like, how are they legends? You know what I'm saying? But that's just what we're, how we're seeing.
Yeah.
And even I was talking about, Woman King, or even I felt that way about Emancipation, is to where like I'm tired of seeing us in a certain light. Even if these are real events that took place, but it's like we have enough of those, like you said. And it's time that we should start, even if we gotta write it, like it doesn't have to be real, it could just be fictitious, but we can, see ourselves in like a more endearing light where like younger kids will see that there's more to the next black person that they see down the street than just what they see on television. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's kind of funny. All the responses you have, except for the dummy role, I kind of played those. But that was a music video for that one, and it was like whatever 2 seconds, and then the gangbanger. I've got a couple of those, man, and it was cool, and I enjoyed it. I think black people, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and I get why. When we talk about, having roles that are stereotypical, yes, a lot of them are stereotypical, but yes, these people exist, so that's just a thing.
Yeah, you're right.
But I think for me, the first thing as an artist is very hard to, I try not to judge a character. I try to be able to play as much range as I can. But the one thing I feel like for me, I've had to early on in my career were just roles that I feel like spiritually were off for me. I've had like from music videos, this artist who was she's some Asian, I don't want to say it. You might hear the podcast, you might not remember me. I don't care. You were weird as fuck, whoever your name was. I want to call you so badly. She asked me to do this music videos in film school, and she sent me the song, and it was some like the world is burning type of some kind of weird as fuck kind of shit. And she had money. I think she was signed, and I couldn't do it. So it goes back to the question of what makes you decide to do a role. Is the same way when I see a role, something in my spirit, like I don't have to relate to it like in the way where I've lived it.
But it speaks to you.
Similar, but it speaks to me. There's always something that is crystal clear about this role in my life, a connection. So I feel like there is a spiritual component. What if you're spiritual, even if you're not, is a reality.
I mean, you take roles with you though. That's a fact. Like I've heard that.
Exactly.
Like it's like every role that you've done on stage, every role that you've done on film, you take a piece of that character with you. Like
you take the people that character and you live that life for that time, and it's tough. Like I played Macbeth, and I almost keep forgetting I did that, and because it was
Macbeth Shakespeare.
Yeah, we did.
I played Othello once.
Oh, you did? I could see you doing that. Yeah. It was with Marlon Campbell. I don't know if you probably know it's not far from Black Spectrum. And that was intense, bro. When I tell you,
yeah, man.
And luckily I was dope.
Luckily, that Shakespeare life.
Luckily, I was in between other stuff that kind of distracted me from it, because when I would really get into those lines and get into that dark Macbeth place where it's like stars, hide your fires. I wink of the hand, let that be. When you see, it's real, and if you feel, and sorry, hold on, y'all gotta see this Macbeth production. I'm gonna send you the link. It's by what's his name, the one the guy who plays in X-Men, Xavier, Professor Xavier. Not Xavier, the other one.
Ian McKinnon, I think.
The Xavier Professor that everybody knows.
Not Xavier, the other one, Magneto.
I know him too. Shit, I forgot his name. I know who you're talking about, though. I know you're talking about.
Bro.
He also played Gandalf in Lord of the Rings.
Macbeth was done in like the 80s. It was filmed. It was in London. Black and white.
That's dope. Yeah. That's put the link in the chat. Yeah, if you
I'm gonna find it, bro. You watch that and it changes your life. You see, like when you talk about acting, and when I saw this place he went to, I legit feel like he was possessed low key. There's a part in the thing where he was like, and I could see that the deeper you got into it, you see how we do Twisted Night Before Kwanzaa, and it was deeper. And I tell Kofi this a lot. Like when I'm doing the Santa Claus thing, the voices, because they're character voices, there's a point where I do not recognize the voice. Like there's somebody, I legit feel like there's some other big black nigga with big beard.
His ancestors, man.
Yeah, I can hear that voice.
No, it's a fact.
Frequency, and you gotta. With Macbeth, I was scared to get there. I didn't want to get there. It was scary. Yeah. But that is a great role. So I think like any role that has that kind of things like occultic, like horror film, nothing wrong with them. I feel like if I'm gonna say something, I need to know more about it. And a lot of times
you wouldn't dig a horror film, you said.
I'm not saying I wouldn't do a horror film. Maybe you see like how Get Out was intentional about the message.
Get Out, Jordan Peele's is a different kind of horror. Like
that's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't consider Nope horror in my opinion.
Okay, there's difference in horror and occultic, right? There's some movies that are legit. They go deep into some real shit that is real. Like you're literally.
That's like The Matrix. Yeah, it's like The Matrix. Think about it, because just like how there's real life layers to Get Out, there's a lot of layers to The Matrix.
Right. But at least The Matrix has like, different themes and everything. I'm talking about films that will literally have like shit that you could see on the set that are real. You're saying things, and that's the silver line.
But I will say this though. I mean, because y'all said that you wouldn't play like a gangster or something like that. I wouldn't have a problem with playing one if there was like layers to that character. So he's not just what I'm saying. Like he's not just like a run on the mill gangster. That's like Ghost, Omar Harwick's Ghost, freaking James St. Patrick. He was a gangster, but he had layers to his character. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So when you think about him as a character on that show, you think about so much more than the crime. Like the crime was really like a small percentage in terms of that whole entire pie. Like, some of my favorite crime, films that I have, like there are layers to the characters. So it's like, yeah, they're gangsters, but there's also a moral to the story. And then there's a takeaway from that, particular character. So it's like, I would do that. Like I love Power. And I said, if they were to ever offer me, a role on the show, I actually wouldn't want to be a gangster. I want to be like, so if I were to be on Ghost, like if I had like a dream role on that show, I want to be an intern for Method Man's character. Because y'all seen the show, right?
I only wait. Yeah. What's it called?
Because Method Man is a lawyer. Yeah, he plays Davis McClain, and I would actually want to be like his like witty, edgy intern. You know what I'm saying? Because I could do that. Like I have that innately. So it's like if what's her name? If Courtney Kemp was still like a showrunner and I knew her, I was like, yo, you got to write me a character. You got to write that character in there. And I want to be the dude that's like fucking all of Tariq's, girlfriends and stuff like that. And he don't even know about it. And he can't do nothing because if he wants to do something, then I throw his ass in jail. So I know something about him that like no one else does. And I could pull the plug on his ass at any freaking minute. So I got the power in the goddamn show because he always got like the most power out of everybody. So I want to be that.
He does.
His ass. Finally.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Like it's funny we talk about that because like I know for that TV show that you helped me audition for, that was another like
it was like NCIS or something like that.
Yeah, it was another scummy black man, but it's one of those things like when you get to that level where you can pick and choose. I understand like when you're first starting out, or you're kind of a seasoned actor, if you will, but you're not a name value. You kind of have to take those roles just because it's hard to build the resume if you don't. Uh, but it's like the film I did in April that you hold me re for. That was a positive experience of a black man who got mixed up with the wrong crowd and it was trying to change his life. It was kind of like a pursuit of happiness in a way, but instead of showing the negativity of growing up in the projects, he was, having a full-time job trying to take care of his grandmother. Me, I'm a street savvy dude, but I'm not in the streets. I'm not involved with gang. And I think we need more stuff like that. And I'm not saying I wouldn't have a role in Power because one of my buddies, his friend is in it, but I would much rather us be more like Method Man, like you said, Dimitri, something a little more positive, opposed to having to sling drugs and shoot up.
He's not he's not really positive. Yeah, he's actually, because I guess y'all don't really, you're not familiar with the show, but he's like a lawyer that, so let's say Kofi, if I'm Davis McClain, I'm Method Man on the show, and you killed your whole entire family or some shit like that, right? But as long as you have the money to afford my services, I could care less that you're in fact, like, his character can care less that in fact, like, you're a freaking murderer. All he cares about is money, and then he's willing to like bend like the law in order to serve his own purposes and stuff like that. So he's not really a positive character because like people think like lawyer, yeah, but what kind of lawyer are you? And he's not, again, a good freaking lawyer. So
facts. There's not many layers to Method Man's character, I should say. So
but I think he does the role. I think he does the role really well, though.
He does, yeah. Method Man is an amazing actor, man. I love bro. He does it all. He does it all.
Yeah. I feel like we just need a lot more like diverse roles for black roles. We haven't scratched the surface on black stories. Like, thinking the only categories are gang shooting, slave movies, this and that. Like all kinds of black.
That's part of a way bigger agenda because they don't actually want,
obviously, but
no, they don't. Because think about it. How many films have we ever seen about black monarchs, right? And then can we really take it serious?
No.
Coming to America, for instance, that was a comedy.
Right.
We can't really take that serious. Black Panther, the freaking white agent, he was the one that saved the day. And Black Panther was created by a white person.
See, that's what I'm saying. So when you start conversations with they don't want us to, that's already, see, that, let me stop you right there. See, that's what I'm saying. The best movies, the best actors, the best stories are usually independent ones. I feel like these indie movies could really put them out and push them. Like he said, because we have these commercial movies where people want to make money and, they feel like the majority of people, unless it's a Black Panther or something that is, with a big budget, whatever the case is, people are not going to watch. I think they are going to watch. I think people are tired of seeing the same kind of stories, the same kind of actors doing the same kind of stories, the same. We're making remakes. Why are y'all remaking shows when you haven't even scratched the surface? So I think our generation of artists and upcoming artists, independent artists, can start creating stories that are completely different. I love when I watch a black show that is just a little quirky, a little just different. It's like, there's so many different types of black, So I think that's a possibility, and I hope we can see that in our time.
And I was like, yo, this brother can't act. Like he's him. Like he's really and I can't. I gotta give respect where respect is earned, bro. Like he's definitely one of those actors. And I watched his performance on Snowfall, and I was just like, there's so many layers. And then he had some stuff that he did before he even blew up, and then I was just like, wow. So he's the person that actually got me back into acting. Now, if I was to say I had an actor that I really looked up to, like which I kind of embodied, I can't say that I really have any actor. Like Denzel's clearly like one that I feel like he affects everyone.
Yeah, everybody says Denzel, yo.
Everyone will say Denzel. Everyone has a little bit of Denzel in them because Denzel has affected them one way or another. But actually, which actor right now is actually kind of impacting a lot of my performances? Terrence Howard. Terrence
Really?
Howard, man.
You know what's funny? He was my favorite part of the Best Man final chapters. So you gonna say that? I hope you've seen it. Did you see it?
I didn't see it. I didn't see it.
Really great show.
Come
didn't see
on,
it.
we'll see it, yo. If you
Yeah.
like Terrence Howard, then you'll definitely like him in the final chapters. Like I was surprised that Quentin was just a highlight for me personally, because out of everybody, it was interesting to see how that was how his character like progressed and ended up. You know what I'm saying? Because
honestly, but even in the first one, he was the most interesting character.
Yeah, he's always that asshole.
The Best Man?
The Best Man, the very first Best Man, Best Man. I don't know. I forgot how Best Man Christmas holidays went. But the very first Best Man, me and my girl.
Are you talking about this Best Man? And you said
I knew you were gonna pull out the cover. I was waiting for you to pull out.
Yeah. I was
a whole encyclopedia up in there.
Nah, I mean, so why? So tell me why.
Why, yo? So Terrence Howard brings this. He brings like he's hilarious. That's one. Like I think he's really funny. He's really like underrated funny too. But I think he brings this sense of mystery within every single one of his characters. Like you can't predict his next move.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I agree in a sense where they were all playing. I guess they were playing cards or some shit, and then the shot was like so the director had the shot of them going around the table, and it was the part where Terrence Howard or Quentin tells Lance, he's like, oh, so if you remember, so think back, he says, oh, so you think you can do all of this dirt and Mia hasn't done any dirt on you? And then everybody got quiet, and then that was when Morris Chestnut reached over the table and grabbed him and pulled him over.
I remember that.
Yeah. So that's the part where like he has that element of like he's 2 steps ahead of everybody else around that table, because even when Lance beat up Harper, Quentin, he had that energy, like he knew it was gonna happen the entire time. So he wasn't even like, remember when he pushes him out the balcony, and then Quentin was the one who talked him down from doing it. You know what I'm saying? But he had a problem with Harper, so I was surprised that he didn't just tell Lance to just throw his ass off. If you remember what I'm talking about.
I remember. Yeah, but Terrence Howard, man, he's someone like I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more research on as an actor. Terrence Howard.
He's
so
incredible. Yeah.
He's very.
But look at him. Look what happened with Marvel after he turned down their offer or became too difficult. I haven't seen him.
That who?
No,
Terrence
because he was originally Rhodey. He was Tony Stark's best friend in the first Iron Man, and he was supposed to. So technically, he was supposed to still be War Machine right now, if things worked out that way. And he's basically saying that because him and Marvel parted ways, you don't really see him in much, which I don't know. Well, has he been in anything other than the Best Man final chapters?
Empire.
That show's not old. When did that show finish?
Don't do that.
Yeah, but he probably listen. Every day. You go check Google. It'd be like, oh yeah, he did this film. He did that. I don't know.
Well, I respect Terrence Howard nonetheless.
Oh yeah, of course.
I grew up watching him, so shit.
Yeah, definitely deserves his acting props. But now for me, and then on top of that, like I didn't really grow up watching like a lot of what is it called? Black what is it?
Black films?
Yeah, a lot of black staples, Like the other day I watched Sankofa. That was the first time I watched Sankofa. And
what movie?
I didn't even know Sankofa.
Who's in it?
Oh, really? I don't. That's crazy. But it's who's in Sankofa again?
You don't even know.
I forgot. It's one of those. It's one of those independent films. A lot of African actors in it, though. Oh, yeah. A lot of like Ghanaian actors, I should say.
I thought you were gonna say like you never seen Boys in the Hood or Juice or some shit like that. Those are staples, in my opinion.
Nah, I watched Boys in the Hood. I watched Menace to Society for the first time like maybe 2 weeks ago.
I
seen Juice. I seen Juice. Okay.
Yeah, you seen it because when we met Leon, because you love Above the Rim, and you mentioned Above the Rim to him a million times. Yeah. Yo, you know what's funny? I will say this as like just being an actor and meeting people that like you look up to, because I have Cool Runnings, I got the Temptations, you know what I'm saying? Like I grew up watching, Leon and stuff like that. And that's one thing that like, all right, so when I found out that Tico was going to be in the play, I mean, because I love the 5 Heartbeats, but that's the only like real film that I really, know him from. So I wasn't really like that over the top. So I'm like, all right, so it's this famous person. I'm not really gonna like jump in his way because I mean, whatever. Well, meeting Leon, that's a different story. And there's like an imbalance. And Jim Carrey said the same thing where he met one of his heroes and he was too much. Like I felt like my energy was just too much. Because here's the thing. I've seen Leon a million times. He's seeing me the first time. He's only seen me one time. So it's like me moving forward is like I kind of don't even really want to meet my favorite actors unless like they know me, if they seen me before already. So Will Smith is like the guy, but I don't want to meet him if he hasn't seen me already. Because what's gonna happen is I'm just gonna be a handshake and then that's it. Versus like me actually getting to say like, yo, man, like you were you. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like how you was talking about Damson Idris. Like I feel the same way about Will Smith because like Will Smith was like my dad in my head my whole entire life. You know what I'm saying? So but that was interesting. That was interesting.
Yeah. But I feel like a lot of time one more thing before I go, I feel like for us, we grew up watching a lot of reruns of black sitcoms. So like Martin was one of my favorite sitcoms.
Yeah.
A lot of my characters, I would even say like when I'm sitting down and I read something, for some reason I always read it in Martin's voice. Like I don't know why. Like he's just a character. Like he's hilarious though. He's hilarious, and Martin's also underrated too as an actor. I want to say that he's kind of underrated in my opinion. He's not the greatest actor. He's not a great actor, but I do think he's kind of good at what he does.
No, honestly I would throw because Martin Lawrence kind of exists in that Eddie Murphy realm, in my opinion. And he was again one of really arguably like the next guy who really went from stand-up to film.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then like starring in his own films like Big Mama's House, Blue Streak, Nothing to Lose, freaking Bad Boys. Like he was the next one. Because it's not like he was a Sam Jackson or Denzel where he came from the theater. His first role was in Do the Right Thing. If y'all seen him, he was in the background, Do the Right Thing, and then he was Bilal in House Party. So I respect him. I give him his just due and his credit for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, but I think I'm probably one of the very few people that like Martin to me is not top 3 sitcoms in my opinion. It's not like nah. I'll watch.
Who you going with?
I watch Martin sometimes, and it just like I like some things from Martin. Like I'll cherry pick and I'll go to Martin for certain episodes, but I can't just throw on Martin and then just let it play and be entertained. I'm sorry, I can't. Nah.
That's crazy.
Nah.
You know why? Martin is tough though because they have a lot of great.
It's good. Yeah, it's good. Like I'm not saying Martin is like the Steve Harvey Show because Steve Harvey Show is like bottom tier black sitcoms. All right, so for me, it's. Like I want to say in a particular order, but I can't because I don't like to play favorites when it comes to stuff. But Family Matters. Family Matters because Carl Winslow, like how people say that like they have like TV dads and stuff like that because they didn't really have that in real life, so they kind of look to shows for that. Like everybody says Uncle Phil is their uncle because they grew up watching Uncle Phil. Carl Winslow was dead ass my dad for real, like on some shit like. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, number 2. Jamie Foxx Show. 3.
Thank you, Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx show over
Jamie
Foxx show with Jamie Foxx.
I can watch the Jamie Foxx show over and over and over again, and I can laugh like it's my first time watching it. Like because who said? Oh wait, Felix, you said that or Kofi said that?
Yeah, I said that. I was waiting for you to say Jamie Foxx show.
Why? Because you agree or you disagree?
I agree completely.
Okay. Yeah, because it's just because Jamie Foxx show was like a great balance of like humor, like comedy, and like real life shit.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Martin Lawrence, like, can you name me an episode where Martin Lawrence really tackled like some real life issues? And it got serious because Martin Lawrence is just like ratchet humor, and it's good. Like, don't get me wrong, it's good. But again, like, I could throw on.
He tackled a lot of relationship issues. Martin was tackling a lot of relationship issues.
Right, but outside, we get it. Martin and Gina, they had their problems. Like I think Fabulous used some sound bites from Martin for one of his songs called Situationships. That's cool. But like, all right, so like how in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air when Will Smith he accidentally gave Carlton sleeping pills and then Carlton accidentally overdosed on sleeping pills and he almost died. Or let's say the episode of Family Matters where Eddie gets pulled over by racist cops, and then they tackle racism on a few episodes, but that's something that's still going on right now, where it's like the whole notion of us getting pulled over by the cops and like it being a dangerous situation. Does Martin have an equivalent? Like, it's cool, like laughing and stuff like that, but you know, life is not laughing all the time, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I feel like I can go to these shows and I can get multiple different things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like the Jamie Foxx show tackled his relationship with Fancy, went through a lot of different phases, whereas, you know, Martin and Gina, it was like funny phases. And it's a good show, but I don't know, just to me, like I just, you know, it's not my top 5. It's not my top 3. You know, it's like in Hogwarts, it's like you have your different houses. Like you go to the Martin house. I ain't going there. I ain't going.
Nah, but you see the thing with Martin too was that you had a lot of different points of views. So you had Tommy's, even though it wasn't like Tommy, most of the time it was Martin and Gina. But mind you, a lot of time you had Tommy going through something. Most of the time it was just Tommy just not being able to find a job. But Tommy went through something where him and Pam ended up together. Pam and
was that
Gina's
the cruise episode? Was that the cruise episode where they was on the cruise? That was like late seasons though. That was like one of the last seasons, and they were on the cruise. And Gina, but I think that was when Martin and Gina and Tisha Campbell were actually having problems in real life, so she wasn't in the episode. So it was like she accidentally got left behind, and then it was Martin, Gina, Pam, and who was Carl Payne? Cole, yeah, and they was on the cruise. I don't know if you remember that episode. You should know.
I remember the cruise episode, but I don't remember like who was on it again. I remember I forgot that episode.
Yeah, because I know Tommy and Gina, Tommy and Pam, they had their thing on the cruise, or she was feeling him and he wasn't really feeling her. That was like a funny episode that, like, you know, I could remember. But and I like Varnell. Varnell Hill is like my favorite.
Oh yeah,
side character.
Yeah.
Varnell again.
Varnell. He was the guy who he was a famous dude, and then he's the reason why Martin went to LA. I think he flew out to LA. I think
LA. Yeah.
He was like, if you remember, he was like, "Did you miss me?" Freaking Varnell Hill.
I forgot. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I watched.
Do you miss me?
Yeah. But yeah, because all right. So do you remember the episode of Martin where he gets beat up by the Michael Jackson impersonator? Like
Michael Jackson impersonator?
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, well, because he was in LA, or he went to Hollywood to try to go on Varnell's show to try to make it, because he wanted to try to be famous too. You know, so that was the episode. But so those are the episodes that I know really well. So you probably know mad episodes of Martin that I don't know, but those are the ones that I know because I've seen them a million times.
Nah, yeah. But I mean, my whole point was just that I feel like we grew up on a lot of sitcoms, so it's movies weren't like a thing. Like those dramatic movies weren't really like a big thing for me, unless like you're watching the African movies, because the African parents, they will let you watch those African movies and they're so dramatic, man. Africans are so dramatic. I just want to put that out there. If you're watching this and you're African, you are dramatic, and it's not even your fault. It's your parents and it's your ancestors, and just it's not even your fault. You're just dramatic by force.
Yeah. So, but anyway, you know, saying, fellas, appreciate you guys coming on the podcast. I think this was a pretty, you know, insightful, you know, conversation, because again, I never really get to sit and really talk about those things. I mean, me and Percy, we have those conversations all the time. And, you know, most actor friends that I have, usually I'll like connect with them and we'll talk about, you know, some real stuff at some point, you know, kind of support one another. Because even when I was sick during the last show, I was saying to you, I'm like, yo, like how I've heard stories of how the actors that we're talking about, they all kind of pretty much came up as a group. You know, they all went to auditions. Tico said that they went to auditions together, that they came up. And I'm like, we, you know, need to duplicate that, you know, and just, you know, be there to support one another, big each other up, you know, because I'm not afraid to show love, you know, saying, to people that I respect. So it's like, yo, like, Felix, every time I felt like you did your thing, did I not always come up to you and be like, yo, you did your thing? Same thing with Kofi. I was the one that was like patting this thing on the back the whole entire time when you were doing the Santa Claus thing, like, because we need that, you know what I'm saying? Because that's in addition to your own personal drive and determination, other people's words of affirmations from other actors that you respect, it means a lot, and it goes a long way. For me, it does. So it's like, if y'all like, yo, you did your thing as Weeby, you did your thing as Sharpton Jackson, I mean, I'll pat myself on the back, but again, like, it doesn't hurt to, you know, receive that from everybody else. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys have any, parting words before we get out of here.
Well, I mean, it was really great having us on the show. Thank you so much for that. It's really refreshing to have these conversations because we like how you talk with me and Kofi talk about this like literally every train ride. We just get deep into the acting. Kofi would be like, okay, so I'm trying to understand like the choices that we make, and then we'll just be talking for hours.
I'll be having epiphanies, huh?
Epiphany, right? It's like whoa, But I think having it on the platform is so good, and it's such it leaves room for a lot. And it was really great working with you guys and really seeing the different talents and different ranges. I tell Kofi this all the time. This is the most authentic of that cast. I know they've done it for 30 years, but I literally feel like this time they found the actual people for the roles. And hopefully we have more conversations. I hope people who listen to this show, especially the ones who are actors, feel inspired, or people who do want to get into acting realize how crazy it is what we do. If y'all want to stay in touch or whatever, my name is Felix Amzusi. You can check out some of my movies on Amazon Prime. Love Birds, Love Between Us, Time to Shine. Also, my philosophy podcast.
Should have had me on there. He want to talk about how I be disappearing after 5 minutes. He didn't even asked me to come on the goddamn podcast with Tico.
You ain't even listen to this shit. See, y'all, everybody wants to get on the podcast. Everybody, can I get your podcast? What's my podcast called? What's the name of the shit?
It's like, yo, how would you know about my YouTube channel if I don't show it to you? So it's not like you were like, yo, bro, this is my podcast. And
that is still possible. My podcast is based on subject matter. So when I found the subject matter, and acting was definitely one of those. So we might revisit that at a time. But just anyway to stay in touch, because we do this art for y'all. We don't have to kick and scream and be like, go check out my shit. But I would do that if I have to. Go check out my shit. Thank you. Respect.
Yeah, honestly, man, it was amazing. It was amazing, getting to talk about this stuff. And I feel like it's perfect because we're all at so many different points in our careers and our journeys. I'm just starting out. Dimitri, you've been in this for a couple years now, and you're starting to really your stride is actually getting there. For me, my stride is just starting. You're in the middle of your stride. Felix said he need to get paid.
I don't got nothing to say. My money.
Want that 20 million.
I got
20 mil. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, so Felix been doing this for a while, so it's amazing to just. And then Percy, this my first time meeting you, but I'm pretty sure you're in the same boat as Dimitri. So just seeing all of this and hearing all your points of views, I want to look back at this years from now and just be like, wow, to see how far and how different we are, just hearing all these different stories, and hopefully we get the chance to work together again too.
Yeah, I mean, but that's just the good thing about just having these conversations and recording it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to be so much further. We're all going to be so much further than where we are today next year. I listen to old shit on my YouTube channel. I'm like, damn, yo, that was a while ago. I'm just so much further mentally down the line. I look at my old thumbnails, compared to you know what I'm saying? You just progress over time. Facts.
Yeah.
Yes.
I for me, these conversations is always I enjoy them because it's not having actor talk is one thing, but talking to fellow actors who understand the struggle is another. And I think that's what's most important about us talking, is because the reality of it is, if it was just Dimitri and 3 other white dudes, no disrespect to them, but their journey is going to be a lot different than us 4. Yeah. So I think it's nice the fact that we all support each other how it should be, and we're able to talk. And we are at different points in the business and in our journey, but at the same time, we're in the same business. So I think it's always good. I always learn something from these. So I'm glad to finally meet you both. Although I think I did meet Felix at some point, I think. But this is a great discussion. People know who I am at this point, so I don't even gotta go on.
He's always on the channel now, for sure. Yeah. But anyway, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
Peace.